What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rob's house. We've got a little job to do on the Mustang today. Unfortunately, my rotors are warped, so I started noticing it's been getting progressively worse, but as I'm driving at 50 miles an hour or higher highway speeds, upon braking, I was feeling kind of a slight vibration coming from the front of the car, which got progressively worse and worse, leading me to believe that my rotors are unfortunately warped. It's worth noting that this car has about 51,000, 52,000 miles on it, something like that, and I daily drive it. So, I mean, you know, these are the original rotors. It's been 6 years since this car was manufactured, 50,000 miles. It's time for new ones. I'm gonna be replacing the OEM rotors with the POWERSTOP Z26 Street Warrior replacement kit. So that comes with drilled and slotted rotors for the front and rear. This is my front passenger side. It does matter which side of the car that you put these on. These are directional rotors, so just make sure that if you buy something like that, you put them on the right side. It also comes with their dustless carbon ceramic brake pads. These are the same brake pads that I run on the Corvette. I do have my Giradisc track pads, but they throw a lot of dust, so I typically run the POWERSTOP pads. If I end up doing a track day, I'll probably switch those over to the Giradisc pads. But anyway, that said, I'm pretty happy with them on the Corvette. They perform pretty well. Even on the Dragon and stuff, they perform great, and they don't really throw that much dust, so that's kind of cool. I'm replacing front and rear rotors and pads today, so I'll show you how to do that. My car is a performance pack Mustang, so it has 6-piston Brembos in the front. The performance pack actually doesn't touch the rear brakes at all, to the best of my knowledge. I think it uses a slightly bigger disc and pad, but it uses the same caliper actually as the non-performance pack Mustang. But what you do get are the 6-piston Brembos in the front with the 15-inch discs. The discs and pads are significantly bigger. The caliper is significantly bigger. I actually showed you guys how to do the brakes on the Corvette. So the front brakes are going to look just like the front brakes on the Corvettes because they actually both have 6-piston Brembos. They're pretty much the same caliper. On the Corvette, they're painted and they say Corvette, but really they're almost exactly the same thing. It's pretty much the same design, but the rears are different. Like I said, these are just the factory Ford calipers in the back. I do have a caliper tool for separating those, so I'll show you how all that works. I gotta get the car on stands, take the wheels off and stuff, so let me do all that and then I'll report back. All right, guys, I've begun the process of removing the rear caliper. There is a nut here. There's a 10mm nut here that secures this brake line and parking brake line down here, and then there's another 10mm nut. The bracket's up here now, but it actually goes back here. So take those out so that the brake lines can actually move, right? And then there's two 14mm nuts on the back of the caliper that kind of secure it onto the bracket. This is how the rear calipers work. Now I can remove the pads. I put a lug nut here just so that the rotor doesn't move too much when I begin taking the caliper off. There's two more. You can see one here and one down here. These two guys. We're gonna remove these next after we pull the pads off, and we can actually pull this whole caliper off, and then we can swap a rotor out. The other thing is POWERSTOP provided us new anti-rattle clips, so these clips are gonna get replaced. I'll kind of walk you guys through that as we go, so I'll be right back. Like I said, I'm gonna take the pads out, I'm gonna take those two bolts out, pull the caliper off, pull the rotor off, and then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do to put the new rotor on. All right, guys, so here's where we're at. So the old rotor is off. It has seen better days, obviously. The new rotor, I just cleaned it front and back with brake clean. They do come with some like oil on it. Notice that they are marked. This says rear driver side, so that's what we're putting on the driver's side. I put anti-seize on the hub. I'm gonna put the rotor on. I'll just kind of install a lug nut just so it doesn't move around, and I can begin reinstalling my caliper. First, I'm gonna put the bracket back on. I'm going to put some of the grease that POWERSTOP includes with the rotors. It comes in a little package that looks like that. I'm gonna put some of that grease in these crevices in here, so you can see in that crevice there where the brake pad will actually kind of move side to side. Then I'll, reinstall the hanger and I'll slap the brake pads in there. Now notice there's a wear indicator on one of them. On my car, this was installed on the inside toward the bottom, right? So that will sit in here. The other pad will sit on the outside. Notice how they are curved. So there is one for driver's side and one for passenger side. They are not labeled on them, so just be mindful of that when you're uninstalling and reinstalling your brake pads on either side of the car. Just make sure you take note of the orientation. So I'll put all that stuff back on, and then I will come back and show you guys how to actually reset the caliper itself once the hanger is installed, and complete our installation of the rear here. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so it's time to reinstall the caliper now. I have the caliper bracket reinstalled, anti-seize applied in here in the crevices where the brake pads will actually move. The brake pads are in. Now I just have to separate this caliper and reinstall it. Now you want to make sure that when you separate it, you do this properly. So from what I understand, we're going to compress this until the grooves face the kind of the way my finger is facing, so toward that inner hole where my thumb is in there. And to do that, we're going to use a tool. So I have this caliper tool, and basically what you do is you're going to put the appropriate sized end piece here just onto your tool, and the appropriate size is just this disc should be roughly equivalent to the size of the inside of the caliper. These posts will grab into those grooves, and as you turn it, it will actually compress it, right? And the way it does that is this backing piece here. So you got to slide the backing piece up kind of over the back of the tool, and basically this nut is going to grab onto it, right? Then you have your appropriate sized piece here, and basically you're going to push this into the grooves of the caliper, kind of wiggle this backing piece into the opposite side of the caliper, and start turning it basically, which will more or less move this. It'll allow this post to move forward. This will grab the other side inside the caliper, and it'll separate, right? From here out. Once you start tightening it, this will separate, and you want to do that until the holes of the caliper are lined back up. You need to do this not just to get over your brake pads for reinstallation, but also so that the parking brake will function correctly. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll report back when I have everything kind of buttoned up here, and I'll also do the other side, and then we'll move on to the fronts. All right guys, this is what the finished product looks like. I have to reinstall these hangers, but I left them off for now just so I could show you where they go. This guide pin goes in this first hole here, and there's a 10mm bolt that goes in there. This guy just sort of lines up, and there's another 10mm bolt there. That's pretty much it. The only other thing that they tell you to do is to put some anti-seize on the outside of the rotor, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna do the other side, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to do the front. All right guys, so it's time to tackle the fronts. I already did the passenger side just so I could get a feel for everything, so I could get through this a little bit quicker for you guys and not kind of stumble over myself here. So I've showed you guys on the Corvette how these calipers work. It's exactly the same on the Mustang. So we're just gonna tap both of these pins out. This retaining clip will come out. There's a I think it's a 13mm nut back here that holds this third retaining pin in place. We'll remove that. I'm going to clean the pins with brake clean. I have a new retaining clip, so we'll use a fresh one. That comes with the POWERSTOP pads. Hilariously, these, even though these are the heavy duty calipers, it's actually easier to service these. Brembo's design's a lot better in my opinion. So basically, once all that stuff's out, we can just slide the pads out. Once the pads are out, there's tools to do this, but there's 6 pistons, right? There's 3 on each side. I usually just use my fingers and pry them out. I mean, like, I'm strong enough to do it, so it takes me less time than actually using a caliper separation tool. Sometimes the tool doesn't go in straight and whatever. It's just easier if I just grab each one real quick with my fingers and push them out. So I usually do that. Then we'll take the caliper off. First, let me just get these pins out and the pads out. Like I said, we're gonna tap these 2 out with a punch. So I have a little punch here, and we're just gonna line it up on the pin, hit it with a hammer till it releases, get the clip out, get the middle pin out, and I'll pull the pads out, and then I'll report back. All right guys, pads are out. They're over there. Got to remove the caliper now, and Brembo makes that a lot easier too. Instead of it being 2 pieces and having a bunch of bolts and stuff, there are 2 bolts. You can see there's one there, and there's one down here. They are both 15mm. I will remove them. Caliper will pop right off. I usually just set it over on the K-member, just so it's not like hanging by the brake line or anything. These are actually pretty heavy. And the one downside of the Brembos is they're pretty hard to hang with a caliper hanger. You would need like a pretty big exaggerated hook, and mine unfortunately are not like that. So to take the rotor off, the other one was actually pretty stubborn. What I ended up doing was I sprayed some WD-40 into each of the thread holes and around the edge of the wheel hub, and just kind of let that penetrate for a minute or 2. And then you actually really have to beat the crap out of these things with a hammer. So I just took my rubber mallet guy that I have and swung it like a baseball bat against the rotor until it eventually popped off. The passenger side was pretty fused on there, so I'd imagine this one's gonna be pretty difficult as well. Kind of rough, but anyway, I'll report back when I've swapped the rotor out, show you guys what that looks like. Another reminder, same way as the rear ones, these are directional, so make sure that you put the correct rotor on the correct side. They are labeled for the sides. All right guys, new rotor's on. I just put a lug nut here so that it doesn't like wobble too much and fall off. I just wanted to show you where I rest the caliper while I was doing that. So I'm gonna reinstall the caliper now. I'll slide the pads back in and then I'll show you how the pins go in. I have cleaned the rotor with brake clean. I put anti-seize on, on the hub that the rotor is now sitting on. I will also put anti-seize on the front here like I've done. I've actually done it with all 3 of the other rotors already. But let me get this caliper back on, slide the pads in, and then I'll show you how to finish up the install. All right guys, I'm getting ready to finish this up. I just wanted to show you what I did here. So I forgot to mention, in the rears, we put anti-seize in those clips that the pads sit in, but Brembo's calipers don't have that. So I just put them on the top and bottom of the pads where the pads can actually, move and come into contact with the inside of the caliper. So just put some anti-seize there. Now we're gonna reinstall the pins. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed, and like I said, I've done this in a previous video before, but these pins go from inside out. Okay, so we're gonna slide one in here. All right, we're gonna take a hammer and tap it all the way in. All right, I have to put this center retaining piece in. Also, this is actually what we're supposed to do first. I just did that a little out of order. This guy has a backing nut here. This is a 13mm socket. All right, just get this guy nice and snug. You don't have to kill it, just get it nice and snug, hand tight, and then give it a quarter turn or whatever afterward. Make sure that locks into place. If you over tighten these, the previous owner of my Corvette actually over tightened one of them, so I have to jam a screwdriver in here a lot to torque this down because he actually rounded off the inside of the caliper here. So one of my calipers on the Corvette's actually kind of messed up. Now, I'm gonna need 2 hands to do this, but I'm just gonna describe to you guys how this works. This clip, first of all, is not symmetrical, it is directional. So the additional wings go on the top, okay? And basically, what you do is it seats on the actual pin here, all right? And then you're gonna have to push it down. So you push it over this back retaining clip, and you're gonna push it all the way down. And now while you're doing that, you're gonna hold that with one hand, and you're gonna put the other pin in, just like this top one, so that it goes over top of this guy. So actually, let's see if maybe I can just tripod this. I don't know how well this is gonna come through on video, but anyway. Now that I have that in, I'm still gonna hold this down with one hand. I'm just gonna tap the pin the rest of the way through, and we're done. All right, there it is, all tapped into place. We're good to go, new pads are installed. So now the only final step here, first of all, obviously double check your work, and then get in the car and just pump your brakes a whole bunch of times until they get hard, and then you're good to go. On your test drive, you have to do a break-in procedure on pads. POWERSTOP is kind enough to give you instructions here on the actual box. Now, it's really simple. Basically, you want to find a road where you're not obstructing traffic, right? So find a back road somewhere or somewhere relatively secluded. You're going to do 5 aggressive decelerations. So you're going to go up to 40 miles an hour. You're going to slam on your brakes until you're down to 10 miles per hour. And then you're gonna immediately speed back up to 40 and do that again. You're gonna do that 5 times. Then you're gonna speed up to 35 and do 5 moderate decelerations down to 5 miles per hour. So that's gonna be basically you giving it, not everything it's got, but maybe about halfway down. So it's still a pretty aggressive stop compared to how you would normally drive your car. But the first 5 should be you absolutely slamming on the brakes and stopping as quickly as you can. Again, this is why you want to do this in a secluded area. You don't want to be brake checking people while you're doing this. 5 aggressive decelerations from 40 to 10, followed by 5 moderate decelerations from 35 to 5, and make sure that you do this all in rapid succession. You want the brakes to be hot. Then you're going to drive slowly to cool your brakes down. They say about 5 minutes. Just to be safe, I would kind of cruise around for 10 or 15. And during that period, you don't want to use the brakes at all if you don't have to. Obviously, if you're coming to stop signs or intersections or whatever, you're gonna use the brakes, but just use them like you would daily driving, like, or if you're someone who stops pretty aggressively all the time, start braking a little bit earlier and just baby them that whole time, because you want to let them cool down. The purpose of doing this is to get them hot so that the pads seat properly onto these new rotors. We have brand new rotors and brand new pads. Even if we didn't have brand new rotors, we would still do this whenever we change our pads out. So this is a little bit different when you're dealing with a performance car. There is this break-in procedure. Technically, every set of brake pads has some kind of procedure, but most people don't follow them on commuter vehicles. Very important on a performance car. So anyway, once it's cooled down, you're good to go. That's it. So I would say wait to clean your car or clean your wheels until after you do that burn-in procedure, because it's going to throw a good amount of brake dust initially. Even though these are marketed as dustless pads, they're gonna get very hot. You'll probably actually smell it while you're doing the break-in procedure. That's normal, don't worry about that. It is a little bit of a disconcerting smell. Now, obviously, you shouldn't be getting the brakes hot to the point of getting brake fade. So if for some reason your pedal goes like all the way to the floor and you're not braking, something's wrong. Immediately stop, check all your, go back home very slowly, check your work, make sure if you bled your brake fluid that you did that properly. You shouldn't get any brake fade doing this procedure, but you will smell some stuff. And by the 10th stop, you might feel like, these brakes aren't biting as well as I think they should be. That's fine. After the 10 stops, let everything cool down. And remember, when you're letting it cool down, you have to drive the car. You have to keep moving. Do not stop and let the car sit. You're gonna have very hot pads that are gonna imprint on that rotor, and they're gonna destroy your brand new rotor. So don't do that. Make sure you keep driving to let the car cool down. You want airflow, right? So you wanna keep moving. Moderate driving for at least 5 minutes. What a lot of track pads and stuff recommend is that you do 15 minutes on the highway, actually, on the interstate, where you can just cruise. You can kind of just sit in the right lane, do the speed limit or even slower, let people pass you. That way you never have to use your brakes, right? And just kind of cruise for 10 or 15 minutes down the interstate. Once everything's cooled down, you should feel very good braking performance at that point. The burn-in procedure is done, the brakes have cooled down. On your way home from that, after you've let the brakes cool down, the brakes should feel very good. So if they don't feel very good, it means you probably didn't do this correctly. They should bite pretty hard. The POWERSTOP Z26 series stuff that they have, so both the rotors and the pads that I bought, are their top of the line street pad and rotor. I like these a lot. They're pretty inexpensive. This entire set cost me a little over $400, plus tax, obviously. And that came with the rotors and the pads. So can't beat it for the price. Like I said, I run these pads on the Corvette as well. I run Girodisc rotors on that car, so that I actually have track rotors on that car. And the reason I do that is because then I can switch to a track pad if I want to actually do a track day. I will not be doing any track days with the Mustang, so these pads and rotors will be more than sufficient. And they should provide, they advertise to be about 20% more stopping power than factory. So I should actually have even better brakes than I had from the factory. Anyway, that's it for this video. As usual, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.